Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. This is Multifamily Chronicles, and I'm your host, Adrian Danila. This is episode number 41. Today, we have a special guest here with us. Our guest today is Demetrius Rodriguez. Demetrius is the Regional Maintenance Director for Resprop Management. Welcome to the show, Demetrius.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Nice to see you, Daniel.
Demetrius, Demetrius, uh, please introduce yourself to the audience. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your professional, personal background.
Yeah, sure. First off, I just want to say I'm a little nervous. I know I've told you this before, Adrian, but just a little backdrop on you. That means a lot to me. I remember coming up in maintenance and, scouring podcasts, trying to find somebody in the industry that was in maintenance. And, you were the first person that I came across, and I heard your story. And I just, I'm a little nervous because now I'm on your podcast, so it means a lot to me. But yeah, I'm Demetrius Rodriguez. I'm a regional maintenance director for Resprop Management in the Austin area. I got in the industry. I've been in the industry for a long time, but I'll jump back to 2014, came into the Charlotte market, signed off on a lot of new developments, did a lot of takeovers in Chicago, Georgia, all the way down to Florida. And fast forward 2021, I came to Texas, took a national role, traveling across the country, training and developing maintenance teams, special projects. And then that led me into a position with Resprop as a regional maintenance director in Austin.
Thank you. Demetrius, why don't you share with the audience a little bit about some great things that are happening at Resprop currently?
Oh yeah, sure. Resprop is a really, really interesting company. It's a part of Rex Partners tech company. So it's a prop tech company. There's a lot of software that we're testing out, we're implementing. They also have a biz tech program for postgraduates to get into the real estate industry. The blueprint for 2023, we're looking to expand and do a maintenance apprenticeship program to develop new talent and upskill. And we also just recently got Best Places to Work in Multifamily 2023.
This is amazing. I just picked up on the apprenticeship program. I would love to get you back here once you start the program and just give us more details. Unless you already have something like general outlining ideas or principles that are going to help you build this program. Is there something that you could share with us at this moment?
Yeah, actually I can. So we're looking at tech schools around the areas to look to recruit. We're also looking at different curriculum, different assessment programs, and ways of training. I've actually been experimenting with virtual reality with Interplay and doing assessments and teaching through immersive learning. So we're getting a curriculum together currently, and we're trying to develop the best possible curriculum to give a good base to get that classroom and then that transition to on-site.
Demetrius, what geographical areas is your company covering?
As of now, a big expansion from San Antonio and just breaking into the Dallas, Fort Worth area. And then also from South Florida all the way up to Jacksonville, there's a big expansion. And then just getting into the Charleston, South Carolina and North Carolina markets.
Next, Demetrius, I wanna touch on something that a lot of us lose sleep over. It's the labor shortages, especially in maintenance, right? I think our specific trade, apartment maintenance, it's been affected. We've been having challenges for years in getting qualified personnel in, but now more than any other time in the past, in a history, like we're suffering a lot. I just listened to a podcast this morning, and the numbers that were said right there were like for maintenance, on-site maintenance, the turnover rate is about 55% average, which is a significant number. I think it sounds about right, but I would not be surprised if actually the numbers would be higher than that. I know that
Mhm.
personally, I've experienced myself higher numbers, and this was even pre-pandemic.
Mhm.
So I think that 55 or even more, it's an accurate number. So um, labor shortages, great resignation. What are your thoughts? How did we get here? How did we end up into this situation? And secondly, what are some ways that you see for us as an industry to be able to fix it, to improve the situation, to alleviate this pain?
Yeah, absolutely. The big quit. Yeah. So interesting. So, my perspective on this is, one thing that we've learned is that, there's a lot of other career paths being, working from home, the big quit, there's just FBA sales, Amazon, there's lots of ways to make money online, drop shipping, that's, using marketing, you have TikTok, TikTok, and what do we do when we were home from work? COVID, we had mandates, vaccine mandates. So people were working from home. They're scrolling on TikTok. That really opened up a whole new world. You see new career paths. You see new ways to make money in real estate, and it just really created like a divorce from the 9 to 5. We divorced the awful workplace, and we started coming up with new creative ways to go out there and explore what we really wanted to do. And but we need to embrace that. We need to be innovative in our companies. We have to imagination, I think, is better than intelligence. I think we need to really understand how to upskill our employees and give them the support they need and make work personable, fun, get people interested in new technology, in different ways to learn, and that's something that I've been trying to implement. And it's slow and it's gradual, but the biggest thing is just to work collectively with your operations. We are running a business within a business, and it can be very stressful. So you can't do it alone. You need total support, and you need to win collectively, and and it'll take time, but you just have to keep. We were talking about this, I think, a while back about having passion, and it's hard to explain passion. And I'm on fire. I'm set on fire for my career, my job, and training, and seeing people progress and giving them a career path and putting them on that path. And I think we need to find innovative ways to do that. We need to inject interesting cadence for them to follow and stay accessible. And one of the interesting things that I've learned using technology to keep everybody connected, because what causes people to fall off is what I was looking at. Why do we lose some guys, and we have some guys that are up at the forefront and some guys that are kind of just doing their job and going home? And one of the things that I found is there's great technology out there like Slack, where if you can get all your personnel on Slack, it can be transparent. You can see what's going on. Create channels and networks for your maintenance people to go. You have a great network on LinkedIn. That's one of the things that I like seeing is your memes and the way you engage. And I do the same thing. I kind of piggyback off of what you do. I put those memes out on there and kind of make everybody laugh and make it a comfortable space where people can give ideas. It'll evolve. They'll say, hey, look, if you have this situation, I'm doing this, that, and the other. And then everybody gets engaged, and it creates a network and it brings people together. And I feel that that collective um, community is what is going to be the future and what's going to grow our maintenance teams to come.
I love the community part because although performance is really individual, but when it comes down to, how can we make it appealing to people to come join us? The sense of community is something that, more and more people are drawn towards. Uh, and I think COVID played a significant part in it because people had to spend more time at home, spend more time with their families, with their communities, or call them communities, right? But mainly family. And then once COVID kind of faded away, they like that feeling a lot. They don't want to just go back to the old ways of doing business. And like you're saying, gig economy. There's a lot of temptations out there. Not necessarily not just temptations, but those are real ways to make a living. And then we're competing against, not just against other management companies, we're competing about everybody else in a market that it's hiring, like literally everybody, from Costco warehouse to Uber to Lyft to you name it, to Amazon. The possibilities, the opportunities are endless. Before this wave of layoffs that we're seeing currently with a lot of companies, about 3, 4, 6 months ago, the statistics were that for each available position for each able-bodied person in United States, person that could do work, period, there were 2 available opportunities. And we're not talking about for each qualified individual, for each individual that could actually perform work, any type of work, they had 2 opportunities available. That's a big thing. That's huge, because it's never been this way. So we have to step our game up and just come up with very creative solutions to make it attractive, make it appealing for people, making them want to come work for us, right? Versus going somewhere else or going on their own.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's a lot of innovation out there. I wish I had more time, but there's systems where I've seen virtual maintenance technicians where the residents are picking up the parts at the office and they're FaceTiming a virtual technician and they're showing them how to reset a GFCI, or they're using a part and they're screenshotting the part and they're scanning it and inventorying it. And it's just really interesting. There's so much that we can do to evolve the industry. And there's a lot of different ways that we can train and upskill our employees. And it's just, I feel like we're just scratching the surface coming in 2023 with everything opening up and the housing shortages in Austin, where I'm currently at. They need to develop more buildings, and there'll be a need for maintenance. And I feel truly, I remember, I used to love to travel. I used to work for Wyndham Worldwide, and I used to like working for them because I used to get a really good discount on a vacation property. And I remember when I got into the apartment industry, you got your guest suite. And there was a company I used to work for, it was mandatory. They had 24-hour security on each property. So I could travel to a city and security would go get my key with my fob on it to the gym, and I'd get a furnished apartment. And I just remember that, wow, this is a really great world, that they offer this benefit. And it's just, I felt exclusive. I felt like I wanted more. I felt like I wanted to climb my way up to the top. And it's those little glimpses that I feel like we're not advertising, we're not marketing, we're not, they look at us like, the Mr. Miyagi maintenance man, or, the guy with the big set of keys and the cigarettes rolled up in his sleeve. They don't see the white collar aspect of it. They don't see the opportunities, the certifications, the credentials we're carrying, the rooms we're sitting in with investors. And I wish that, it was illuminated more. So whenever I get a chance to talk to new recruits, or if I'm dealing with somebody who's struggling or has job rot and they want to get out of the industry, I always try to illuminate what it can be and just show them that, it is tough at times. We do have a difficult job. We also have a very dangerous job. That's why it's so key critical to take classes and be conscious and mindful of voltages we're working on and having the right equipment. And but it's rewarding, and there's avenues for success. And any chance I get, I see you're on the apartment maintenance group on Facebook, where there's, I think, hundreds of thousands members on there. There's a lot of members on there. So try to stay connected and see what the trends are and see where people, what people want and what they want out of their property management companies, and staying engaged. I always tell the guys I'm working with, be engaged, go to the apartment association, just be engaged, be in contact with other contractors, other maintenance guys, see what's available to you out there. And those things will keep you interested and keep you engaged.
Oh, Demetrius, those are great points. And you did mention passion before in our conversation, okay? So I want to go back to passion. And I wanted to ask you a question. What drives you? What gives you the drive to get up in the morning, to make great things happen, and to love the job that you do?
Do you really want to know?
I do.
Because so for me, so being in the veteran Navy Seabee, discipline was a big part of the day to day. If you set yourself up in a process, that's kind of a sort of a practice, a discipline. And if you're in that process and you develop that discipline, that gets you up and gets you your coffee at 4 a.m. rather than relying on your will to get up. And you're sitting in bed, well, what am I going to get motivated to get my coffee today? Jump out of bed. So you develop your processes, and processes don't fail people, people fail processes. And I don't want to sound like a page, chapter 13 in a book, but it's very true. So you have to develop the discipline. The passion and the innovativeness comes, honestly, for me, it's talking to people like you. It's talking to people like Paul Rhodes. It's talking to people at the apartment association, contractors, owners, reps, just in the day-to-day grind. It's amazing to me what I don't know. I was just, for instance, I was walking some units with some owners reps, and I always knew the flush mount sinks, when you have I've seen those garbage disposals today. Those sales reps grind rocks in them to show you how powerful they are. And they flip the switches and those sink basins fall because they're attached underneath the granite with clips. And one of the owner's reps said, do you have Hercules straps to put underneath to keep them, And the builder was saying, well, if we put those straps underneath the sink and we fasten them here and we fasten them here, it's still gonna fall. I mean, it's not gonna really be much of a support. And the owner's rep said, yes, but it'll show in a lawsuit that you did is more than you were supposed to. And there was a case where a resident was washing her baby in the sink and it had collapsed, and then it went to court. And if they had showed that they had put something in to add a little bit more support for that, it would have been a different story. So the builder put all those clips in underneath all of the units and did that for us. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. The legal perspective, the building science of these buildings and systems. And as that's what drives me. I want to know more, because my philosophy is the more that I know, the better that I can lead. And I want these answers. I want to know the science behind what I'm doing, the what, not just the why. I want to know how, if something tripped the fuse in the air handler, and you change the fuse and you reset, why did it trip? Give me the reason why. Let's trace it back. Is there a short? Let's look at what the cause is, and let's figure it out. Let's look at the data. Just don't look at the data and say team A is ahead of team B. Let's look at why they're ahead. Out their units. Maybe they're in full code says you have to sub those units out. We got to look at the reasons why. And those are the things that get me thinking and get me creative and change processes and implement processes. And then also getting feedback from people in the industry and guys on site, because things change constantly. Real quick, I had a maintenance channel on Slack, and it had the it had all the states. I had all the maintenance guys on it. It was working really great. And we would always chime in with fixes or new tools that came out. It was great. One day I'm scrolling through and somebody tagged me from Nashville and said, "Did you notice that the price of 410A just went up 300%?" And I went, "What?" So I looked and I called around, and yeah, it was going up. Like, it was rapidly going up. So just by that, having that collective forum, we got ahead of it really getting high and did bulk purchases. And we got bulk purchases done and got them at a rate before they really skyrocketed and saved gobs of money. So that collectiveness, we win collectively. That's one of the things that I found and really increases my passion, is just getting more people implementing, more ideas going and implementing them as soon as you can get the information.
There's certainly a tremendous power in networking, and I could attest to that. I've seen it, like, it plays for me every single day. It's amazing how many things you could accomplish, how many things you could learn through simply just networking with others, with your peers, with professionals in general in the industry. You don't know what you don't know, but then you could help yourself, educate yourself just by learning from the best. And the knowledge it's available out there. You just have to make a conscientious effort to reach out to people. They're smarter, better than you, and you just have to listen. Take the time, ask the question, and just listen to them, and you will get so much better. Demetrius, you had an amazing, remarkable career in the industry, in the multifamily industry. For those of us, for those that are looking or watching the podcast right now today, I want you to give me a few pieces of advice. What type of pieces of advice would you have for someone that wants to move up into a regional type position in an industry? They're currently, a groundskeeper, a punch tech, or a certified tech, or even a service manager. So they're at a site level and they're looking up and they wanted to move up. They wanted to become a regional maintenance director. So what are some pieces of advice that you would share with us who want to follow this path?
Sure. The first and foremost thing is, for me, my recommendation is, and I do this in my own life, is I try to hire leaders. The technical side, the CAMT, the CPO, the universal, those things are great. Those look good on paper, the interview process, but I try I would really encourage, if you're listening to this, to pick up some books. Robert Greene is an author that I like. The Laws of Power. I would read books on leadership, and really dive in and educate yourself on leadership, and learn to be a good leader, and lead where you are, and realize that everybody has significance. I had a regional manager look at me cross-eyed at one time because, I explained to a porter that he has the most important job on this site, because, the curb appeal is number one. Our amenities are number one. And, he pours in every day and puts his heart and soul into getting that property clean. And that's really what the prospective residents see first. And that's what's inviting. That cuts back on crime. It shows that you have a good maintenance team, and just the significance factor in realizing that everybody is a leader and that everybody can lead, and that you don't have to have some huge degree, or you don't have to have worked with these great companies. Just expose yourself to leadership books, expose yourself to leaders, because once you're exposed, you can't be unexposed. And that's really a mind shift that will allow you to have the risk, to have the passion to accomplish, because the leader in you will come out. And when that leader comes out, you'll have a magnetism. You'll have a magnetism, and you'll be able to bring people together. And that's what operations want. That's what owners want. They want to accomplish the goal. They want to get to a certain place, and you'll be able to understand how to do that and win over people and work towards the end goal. So that would be my number one thing to do, is get into leadership books. It's really important. It's refreshing. It'll teach you things about, that you got to be patient, humility. Those are guideposts you need to hit. I would say start there first, and then everything else will fall into place. You'll know that you won't look. So if you study the leadership first, you'll understand that the pool needs to stay clear, not just for the fact that, you don't want people to come and see a green pool. You'll look at it because it's a duty of care. You'll look at it because it's your legal obligation to the patrons of that property to keep that pool crystal clear. You have an obligation and responsibility, and you have to uphold that. It's a mind shift. Now you're not just clocking in and clocking out. Now you have ownership of that property. And then your employees will look at you, and it'll cascade on them, and then they'll develop that ownership. And then in turn, you create leaders. And I feel that that is what our industry needs as far as maintenance. We need to develop leaders, and we need to start working on that, because we live in an attention-grabbing society where your attention is gone in a second, whether it's what's on your phone or what's going on in the world. That's the kind of society we live in now. So we need to have a mind shift and develop leaders and use the technology, use the attention-grabbing society for our benefit, for training, for get-togethers, for learning experiences, leadership experiences. So that's really important to me for the guys that are getting into the industry, because they can get bombarded with the EPA class or, the day-to-day distractions. They're working on a unit, and they're just like, they don't know how to braze, or they're afraid to braze, or the process take too long and they have to go jump off of it and take care of something else. So we have a lot of distractions. So with the leadership and managing your time, it really kind of gives you that deep breath, and it allows you to really settle in and find new ways to do things. That's one of the things that I'm training guys now to do is, there's different ways to install. You can install a unit now flame free. You can Pro Supply has high pressure brass push connect fittings for HVAC now that suppliers are selling all over the country. Contractors are using these all over the country. So this is something that, I'm looking at, buying runs of them and getting them installed. And now we have flame-free options to install units. So that cuts back on time and labor. And I wouldn't know these things if I wasn't traveling, if I wasn't going into supply houses and talking with contractors and talking with people and exposing myself to different situations. So that would be number 2, is expose yourself to people in the industry, contractors, regional maintenance. If you have a good regional maintenance director out there, stay in contact with him, ask him questions. If he invites you to training, go. If he invites you to the apartment association get-togethers, go. Mingle, engage, because those partnerships are what's going to get you in the door to these companies. Adrian, you might say, yeah, you have a great network. So you're doing the same thing on a greater scale. You develop a network. You can probably elaborate on that when I'm done, about how you can find people jobs, and you spread it out throughout the network to able to help people get engaged with different companies. That's great. That's awesome. That's 2. That's definitely second. And then third, I would say, just be, always trying to learn and bring your skills up. Like you said it best. You said we don't know what we don't know. It just keep pressing, if you've put off the CAMT, go ahead and engage yourself and get into that class, or get into I took the caps, and they said, you shouldn't take the caps. You're not I just wanted to learn the operation side. Learn, take time to learn other things and just grow. And that's going to help you in your discipline as a leader, because you're constantly learning yourself and you're investing in yourself. So you're a benefit to others, because, when they call you up, it might, you can help them out better, and you can lead better. So
It's not only that you better yourself, but instance of caps and other similar designations, they're generally for regional managers. It helps you understand the big picture. One of the challenges that I've seen at the site level with let's say service managers is that they have difficulties articulating what the issues are, what the needs of the property are, and they have difficulties speaking the language of business. Okay, at this, for the higher ups to understand what the needs really are. They're thinking, along the lines of budgeting, and they're looking at a property as an investment. And how do we make the most of the investment? Our service managers got to be educated into the same mindset, so they could understand what the owners are looking at. What's the owner's angle? It's not sufficient to just say, hey, order me 3 water heaters, or like I need to have 3 water heaters in stock. You had to make a case for it. You had to actually speak their language, so you could sell your needs to them, so you get through, your message gets through. It's not just as simple as I need something. That's a very basic line of conversation. We have to help our guys, our team members, elevate the conversation and be able to have this conversation at a higher level. Do you disagree?
No, I totally agree. KPI, you have to know what these things stand for. It'll help you diagnose better with budgets. It'll help you with the properties overall around performance. Like you said it best, it's the language. But that language also gives you the definition. When you're looking, it illuminates, things will come up at you, and you'll be able to see processes and things, and why things are going this way, or why we're spending this amount budgeted for turns. Oh, because we just came out of a renovation, so we need to adjust. We need to be able to see, so that we can have the properties perform at an optimal performance. So that's really good. Yeah, I like the way you went into that.
Demetrius, would you like to share with the audience of a few ways, or what are the best ways to attract talent to your company, maintenance in particular, right? Can you share with us of a few ways that have been proved very helpful to you, very efficient to you into attracting new great talent to your group?
Yes, I can. So currently, I'm working on trying to be more innovative with our talented candidates. A lot of our talented candidates want to take on area supervisor positions. They're looking, in the industry right now, we have a lot of, there just isn't really that much growth in some companies, and a lot of the interviews that I do, they're looking for advancement, they're looking for more pay, they're looking to use their skills and leadership in an area role. And one of the ways that I pull them over to Resprop is I really paint a picture of how I'm going to place them in their role. I ask all the questions, what kind of bonuses are you looking for? Because you'll get somebody in as a floater, the allotted time that they're spending on all these properties, are they getting the renewal bonuses? Are they getting a cut of the quarterlies? So I'm trying to develop the pay scales to elevate those positions so that they're compensated for their time properties. And and developing that into a process where, we're getting recognition, they're getting rewarded, and they're also on a plan to be assessed, because you don't know what you don't know. So these guys come in, I give them a snapshot, I do an assessment and get a snapshot of where they're at, and then train from that point. And what I see is, from the maintenance technicians and from the supervisors, is when they're exposed to that, it really gives them a kind of illuminates them to where to go, what training they need to get, and then I kind of cater that training for them a la carte, so that they can work at their own pace, because I want work for them to be fun and innovative, and I want them to voice their opinion. It's really important that they have an outlet, a network, where they can voice their concerns and people can come together and help each other grow. Because when I take things to upper management, I try to get a collective stance and break down what we need to do. There might be a commissioning bonus for the leasing, floating leasing, commissioning bonuses for property managers, but we're developing floating maintenance, area maintenance, these positions, giving them their own commissioning, and rewarding people for their performance, and a lot of engagement, getting personal and engaging them, seeing where they're at, checking in, a lot of networks, group chats, staying engaged, and, like I said, attention society. We don't want our talent to get job rot at properties because they're talented, and we just want to throw them at property A, property B, property C, and they fix these properties, and we just move them along. We want to engage with them. We want to, give them the recognition. We want to promote them, spotlight them, so that the rest of the teams can see, and that builds a brotherhood and a camaraderie.
Definitely. Company culture, Demetrius. So I wanted to ask you, company culture is it's a topic that I'm very passionate about myself. I'd like to get your take on it. What are the things that matter to you the most when it comes to company culture? What are the things that you were hoping to see in a company that you want to join, or you're currently working for, when it comes to culture?
Okay, I'm a little radical when it comes to company culture. I might shake things up if a lot of people are listening in on this. I believe in the honor system. I don't believe in clocking in and clocking out. And I know that sounds radical, but we have lives first. And I believe that it's hard. When I was a part of the honor system, I won't go in and say what company, but when I was a part of it, I stayed late a lot because I felt I owed it to the company. If I was late, it was probably because I was, taking my daughter to a dentist appointment or something, and I came in 15, 20 minutes late, whatever. I always gave back, and I always thought that was special. And when and then I even found out, why did this president of this company come up with this concept? Because his son wanted to get rid of it, and he wouldn't get rid of it because he was just so focused in on employees having their life come first. And that is a great culture because it shows that you care about them as a person and their family and their lives. And it just draws you, gives you a special bond to your company. Number two, I believe in no conflict. I believe that we should be able to have a open discussion. I should be able to talk to my regional manager, 1 out of my 5, and tell them how I feel about a situation. There should be a no conflict. Now, it should be respectful. It should be professional, of course, but within that confines, it should be a no conflict where I could just, shoot at my president something on Slack and say, I disagree with this. This is, these are my reasons why, and there should be a no conflict, all out in the open. Let's voice it all out. Let's get it all out. No conflict. I really like that concept. I think it's healthy, and I think it should be used in more company forums. And then number three, I think every company should have I really feel that they should have some type invest in just even if it's just once, just invest in all the maintenance guys to come together. Even if it's, you know, you incorporate the property managers and, you know, on their budget boot camps or whatever they go on, kind of just let's get service managers, once again, going back to let's build leaders. Let's get all our service managers and let's get them all together once a year. You know, not so much the fishing trip idea, but the learning idea. Hey, let's go over, you know, our bids. Are we rebidding out? Are we doing X, Y, and Z? Some tech boot camps, you know, add that in. Let's get everybody tech savvy. Let's get everybody downloading our Google apps on our phones so we're accessible to Google Groups and the maintenance network. And let's make sure everybody's, you know, on the up and up with our purchasing POs. You know, let's have some classes on that. Let's get together. Let's see who our leaders are. Let's see who people who want to step up and be the speaker. You know, let's see who we got in our company, our rising stars. You know, let's kind of take the temperature and see, you know, what we're working with, you know, collectively, you know, once a year. I think those things, if they're brought into companies, I think it would be groundbreaking. I think it would really shake the core, the tree of maintenance. And I also feel top talent would jump into that and say, wow, I have a voice. I have a voice here. If I go, you know, I used to tell guys, well, you know, $2 won't change your life. $3 is going to change your life. You know, it's not. So that being said, you know, the culture, development, the right recipes, the right recipe is everything. You could take flour and eat just flour and take water and just drink water. Eventually you're going to die. But if you mix them together and make dough and bake it, you'll live forever. It's magic. You got to take the ingredients and you got to have that reaction. And those things that I just said, if you put them together, you can create that magic. And that's what'll shape maintenance in the future. And I hope that I can get a lot of my initiatives off the ground because I think that it's ripe. Right now, it's ripe. We can go in and implement things and change the game. The industry is changing, amenities are changing. And now more than ever, you know, we have the way to communicate. You know, I communicate with my service managers and communicate on Google Meet. We have this technology. We can get together at any time at a drop of a hat. When we need to use this technology, we need to teach our maintenance that we can use these things to upskill. We can use these things to communicate and to get further ahead.
I love the analogy with the flour, the water, and then the dough. In order to make the magic happen, you gotta hire excellent bakers. You gotta find the bakers. You gotta find the right bakers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not anyone can be a baker.
That's true.
So the hope is that, you know, we'll find the right bakers to read the recipe and to make great things happen, right?
Absolutely. I like that. I like that.
One of the challenges we have, Demetrius, with finding great personnel, great talent, is pay, really. Our industry has been behind other industries, comparable industries. I will think about construction, trades. Nowadays, it's even, you know, retail stores like Costco. They're neck and neck with what they're offering, with what we're offering for a maintenance tech position. So considering that they don't have to bring their own tools when they work at Costco. They don't have to use their own transportation to drive around and fix people's problems. They don't have to be on call. And the pay is exactly the same as we offer. It could make things very, very challenging for us to attract the talent when we compete against those guys. So pay, I wanted to ask you, not what the number is, because the number varies. It's based on the market, based on the type of product that you're working on. So it's based on many
Yes.
variables. But how do we determine, in your opinion, what would be a great way to determine competitive pay?
That is a good question. Competitive pay. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think Buc-ee's, have you ever heard of Buc-ee's gas station?
Of course,
So-
we have a couple
so-
in Georgia here.
So Buc-ee's pays $18 an hour for an employee just to clean their bathrooms. So pay is something that when I look at pay scale, we want to be competitive with our regions, with the markets we're in. The market in Tuscaloosa is different than the market in downtown Austin. So we want to be competitive in pay, but now to match that though, we have to be very careful. We don't want to hire out of necessity because of the competitive pay chart. So we need to set guidelines and job descriptions that outline what we're paying for. And then so if we're paying for a service manager, we need to have CPO. That needs to be job description. There needs to be a higher level of responsibility. It needs to match up with the competitive pay. But better than that, we need to also assess them and map their roadmap to where they want to go. So in the hiring process and the onboarding, that's key critical, because we're always onboarding to next opportunities. So the onboarding has to be based around the drive and the avenue of where our maintenance personnel wants to go, as opposed to, I just want a job and jump on the back of a truck and get $22 an hour to be an apprentice. There's a limit. There's a top with an electrician pay. There's tops with plumbers pay. Is that the career path you want to go in? Explain to them that in the colder months, you might have to bang 10. You might, it's not all service calls all day and all night. The ability to not be on call one day. A corporate position in maintenance. You need to illuminate them and give them the career path. So the career path, the job description, and the onboarding along with the pay. We need to raise the competitive pay, but also it's more expensive to replace those people. Like, let's go back to your turnover rate. We don't want high turnover. So a part of the onboarding is exit interviews. We want to make sure that the leadership is in place, that we're cultivating a good ground for our competitive employees to come into and then grow. We want to give them that life where you can put a seed in the ground and you can water it and give it all the right conditions. But what's that force that lifts it up and grows it into this beautiful plant? What is that life force? That's what needs to be established. So yeah, get the competitive pay, but don't just skip the onboarding and the cultivating. That needs to be a part of the launch. We don't want a failure to launch. And I feel that is the pain point with a lot of companies. They're paying the high price but they're not cultivating them. Right?
It's absolutely right. It's not just one solution. It's a number of solutions that got to be implemented at the same time in order. So you said, pay them right, but at the same time create the right onboarding process. Now, you did mention, turnover and losing talent. Okay. My next topic is burnout. Right? Burnout is one of the causes for losing great employees. What are a few ways that you could think of alleviating this issue or, preventing burnout for our techs out there in the field, for our teams in general.
Job rot is what I call it. So yeah, it's a trick. That's a slippery, that's kind of a tricky thing. What I do personally is I always do check-ins. I always do check-ins, whether it be Google Meet or in person. And also, from a regional standpoint, looking at you, sometimes you don't have a good foothold on the operations side. So you have some turnover, you're floating some guys, and you need to be conscious and you need to be mindful who's pulling call when we're down and we're floating 2 guys. Are they pulling call? You might find out they've been pulling call for 3 months straight. That's where you interject. It needs to be in operations and maintenance collective kind of oversight. We need to have a format where we know where we need people and alternate them. Also place them based on their strengths, give them recognition, give them time off. To take that time off and let everybody know, hey, sometimes you just need to remind, I'll meet with the supervisors, get on a Google Meet and say, hey, guys, put in your time, and, calendar invite me on your time so that I can get coverage set up and let me know, take that time to be with their families. Just let them know, reiterate to them that, just take that time for yourself to invest in yourself and do what you need to do. But check-ins, you need to have check-ins, like you need to have physicals, like you need to check up on yourself every now and then. You need to check in on your guys, and you can't set things in like a perpetual motion and just think that we're working with human beings. And I think that we forget that because as businessmen, we're thinking about, find a way or make one. That's why, find a way or make one. And we want to, move that glass bead, but these are human beings. We're human beings. So we need to check in. We need to make sure we have all the right resources and that we're taking a temperature of what the situations are at different properties. But also, most importantly, having that forum, having that network where guys can say, in my maintenance network, they'll reach out and say, hey, is anybody good with these heat kits or, this electric heating? I need some help. And then John will say, yeah, hey, give me your number. I'll pop in. That connectiveness makes that person feel, wow, I could reach out to anybody, and it just renews. It renews. And then, if somebody is looking to, maybe work on different systems and work at a different property, I'll keep that in mind and pencil that in and put them on a different side of town or try to work around people's schedules. I always stay abreast of, if I find out that, hey, life changes, right? Somebody could come to me and say, hey, I have this life change. I need to pick up and drop off at these times. All right, well, I'll let your regional manager know on your property, we'll figure it out. We'll work with you. Those are, things that they sound simple, but it's really actually hard to do. And if I didn't have my maintenance network, my maintenance channel, I wouldn't be able to see what was going on real time. Because a lot of the guys will pop in and just show a situation on their property. And I'll go, hey, wait a minute, that's not right. So it's just being connected, having that connectivity. It's really important. And to help that job rot and that sense of, I'm alone on an island, because it's important, Adrian, you travel a lot. We're alone a lot, and I traveled every week and, I'm in the hotel room and you were telling me how you were exercise and you would do your routine. I had my routine too. I'd bring my juicer I had a travel juicer, and I had my pre-workout, and I had my workout schedule, and you need you're alone a lot. So you need to engage in other things, and you need to keep your mind occupied and develop new habits and new routines. And that's what I try to do. I try to implement a new routine and look at the systems that are in place and try to maneuver where needs be.
Well, it comes down to discipline, that you just mentioned before. You have to find ways to discipline yourself and keep yourself on track. If you're not, and you're ended up all over the place, it's a very, very painful life to live.
It can be.
Yeah. Demetrius, on call is probably the number one, the most hated thing by the on-site teams. It's personal experience. It's first-hand experience, just talking to guys in the field all the time. That probably the number one complaint from them is on call. We hate on call. What are some ways to alleviate this pain that comes with the on call, to make it a little, to sweeten the deal? What are some ideas that you have to make this a little better?
The first thing one of the things I used to do was really outline your on-call procedure. Have that just set in stone of what is an emergency. I know that sounds pretty simple, but that you'd be surprised. A lot of people don't know what is an emergency, what is an emergency, but also communication. So the property manager, the supervisor, e-blast your residents, let them know what these emergencies are for after hours, and really scream that and hold that line. Don't develop concierge maintenance that will kill teams. That's one of the reasons why I developed the maintenance channel, so that it's transparency, because I found by visiting a lot of sites that the techs were at the mercy of chat, concierge maintenance, leasing agents. Tom, can you go over to unlock this garage? Tom, when you're done with the garage, can you go over and see Miss Johnson's, her screen fell off. Tom, when you're done with that, I think somebody left their stuff over them. But so they're getting drug around by concierge maintenance. So there needs to be a forum transparent of communication that's property level. Like Slack, you have Greenbrier Apartments. All communication is through Slack. I can see it because I'm in that channel. All the higher ups can see it, and because our job as maintenance is to uphold the lease. That's our job, to uphold the lease. It tells you what maintenance does in the lease. It tells you what we're supposed to take care of. We provide service. We can't provide good service if it's concierge maintenance, if we're running around doing things off of what we're supposed to be doing, because we want to appease the leasing office as they hear. So developing that black and white on call, what is an emergency? And number two, be inventive. I was awesome on call. I would tell people how to redo their thermostat, reset their Nest thermostat on FaceTime, and then walk them through it. They loved it. Because you'll find most people don't want a physical body in their apartment. They just wish they knew how to reset that pesky Nest thermostat or this new technology that they don't know nothing about. Walk them through it. You could probably handle it really simple. You just got to think outside of the box, get creative. I heard Paul Rhodes on your podcast say he got to be a superhero because somebody needed their toilet unclogged, and here he comes at the middle of the night to do that. I don't think I ever thought I was a superhero in those moments, but he's creative. Paul's creative. And that's how we have to think. Imagination is greater than intelligence. create a different way. You know, in the mornings, walk your condensers, find the ones that are frozen and pull the disconnects and take care of them throughout the day. Get creative. Make it a part of your property walk. Make it a part of your turns. Analyze your work orders and say, wow, we're having a lot of problems with these flow masters. What's going on? You know, find the systemic problems and fix them. Handle them at turn level. So, and then you'll see your work orders cut down. You know, you got to get inventive and you got to get in there. And that's what I used to do. And have a good rotation if you're fortunate enough to have a team. You know, your make ready guy can take call. You know, there's people that can take call. They may not be able to charge the unit, but they can put a portable in. So the lines of what we do, you know, would need to be, and who can go on call need to be set. So there's a lot of process outlined, and there's a lot of innovativeness, and you'll see that you'll be able to cut back on calls and you'll be able to run a smoother property.
Great tips, very good tips. Demetrius, we're about to close this conversation, just this one. Okay, I'd like to continue because I had a lot more topics that I'd like to cover, but I don't want to rush the questions, and I want for our audience to witness a meaningful conversation where they could get value out of it, and I think they will. In closing, is there anything that you would like to say you wish you would have said during our conversation, or you wish there was a certain question I would have answered and you didn't have a chance to to respond? Anything?
No, I think we covered pretty much everything. You know, the only thing I'd like to probably close with is just, I just thank you for having me on the podcast, and you know, it's really nice that you're creating this for people to get an insight. And I just want to plug your podcast and plug, all the good things that you're doing, because, if I want to learn from an owner's rep or investor, you have them on, I can tune in and get value out of that. And we had a conversation about a blueprint, and the blueprint's there. You're providing the blueprint and you're asking the questions. And if anybody watched this and heard what I had to say, I meant everything, and everything was from experience, and everything that I'm implementing. And the blueprint is really important, and it needs to be looked at, and we need to study it, and we need to grow. So, I just want to plug what you're doing and say that this is a great outlet. I've tuned in and saw a bunch of podcasts, and they've helped me, and they've given me ideas, and I'm just glad that I got to be a part of it. And I'm very grateful. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Demetrius, for coming. Great conversation, great insights. Again, thank you for sharing them with the audience. I hope to get you back here soon to continue the conversation, because again, everything that I want to talk to you about, it's not, there's no way we could compress within a 1 hour conversation. So I'm hoping to get you back out here soon, so we could do a second episode with other very interesting topics for our audience out there.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me.
Everybody, thank you very much for watching. This was episode number 41 of Multifamily Chronicles. I'm your host, Adrian Danila. I hope to see you back here soon. Have a great day.